We just got through watching WrestleMania 32, and guys, I gotta say, what a kick-ass show it was. Welcome to Hardcore Wrestling Radio's WrestleMania review. I am your Hardcore Rick Head, and before we get started, I'd like to introduce the Hardcore crew for tonight. First, he's the classic wrestling manager, Joseph Knight. Joe, what's up?
Not much. It was a really action-packed WrestleMania. Surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah, there was a lot of shockers tonight. And then we have the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, great WrestleMania tonight.
Yeah, that's what a mania should be. Little long, but that's what a mania should be.
You know what? It was a little long, and before we got with the whole review, the past Raw and SmackDown was absolutely disgusted with it. I'm like, you know what? WrestleMania's going to be shit. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was a great pay-up show. The opening matches for the kickoff show was all right. Kalisha beat Ryback. They had the Divas 5 match, 5-on-5 blondes. Bad blondes versus Total Divas shows you how well I'm remembering the shit. Match is not too bad. The Dudleys versus the Usos, guys. I think we're going to see them hang over to Extreme Rules for a tables match. Joe, what do you think?
But definitely, how funny it was that at the end, before the match was over, the Dudleys will call out for tables. So they reverted back to their table smashing. It turned against them, but yep, definitely Extreme Rules table smash.
And Lance, the Usos did get the win. The match for what it was okay, but it wasn't really one of the better cards. It was probably the best pre-show match, but certainly not one of the best matches on the card.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know if did they actually win, or did their music just play after they put the Dudleys to the table?
No, they won, and then the Dudleys attacked them. They set up the tables, and that's when they got put through the tables.
I'm
so
trying to sing the fall or something like that.
yeah, so Usos are the one who put the Dudleys through the tables. Excuse me. Okay, moving on as I fuck up again. There was a ladder match, guys, and it was The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, Stardust, Sin Cara, Zack Ryder, and of course Kevin Owens. And I said earlier the other day that Zack Ryder and Sin Cara and Ziggler was just going to be bantha fodder. And holy shit, we got a shock. Zack Ryder wins. He is now our new Intercontinental Championship. Lance, what's going on here?
Well, I guess they wanted to shock the world. Well, damn if they didn't do it.
It was a shock. And Joe, let me ask you this: with Ryder now winning the IC champion, are they? WWE's obviously giving him the ball. Do you think he'll be able to run with it and take it to the next level, or
No,
it's just?
he's going to be a transitional champion. I could see it. It's basically just going to be something for him to hold on to just for a couple, maybe a month or so, and then they're going to trade it off to someone else. Uh, this was a night that Rick, we sat down, we did our predictions, and our predictions just got tossed out the window.
Absolutely, and the fact that a lot of our matches that we called were way off, it was something that it was refreshing because when you can predict a match for every single match, you eventually it's like yeah whatever, despite the quality of the match. But another great match was AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho. Now they have been on a feud. This isn't the first time fighting, but I have to say, for what it was, this was a decent match. Now, the way it worked is AJ went for the phenomenal forearm, but Chris Jericho caught him in the code breaker. Was that okay? Anyways, I don't know. It looked like Jericho might have injured his jaw, Joe. What do you think?
Yeah, he definitely injured his jaw. He had, like, if you look at the close-ups, his jaw looks like it was two bones look like they were protruding out from his sides. It wasn't penetrating the skin, but you could tell it was out of place. A great match. I mean, that was a really really good match out of the two, and that's what I like to see. Classic wrestling. It wasn't 50 spot monkey moves. It wasn't let's go 200 miles per hour. No, they did their moves. They slowed it down, and I think that's what dictated the rest of the night.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Lance, Styles and Jericho always having that great chemistry. And what was your thoughts on the match?
Well, I mean, basically, it's just two great guys having a great chemistry with each other, and well, yeah,
Yeah, and well, the match after that, we had the actually it was the Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose fight, and it was a street fight. And Lance, I know you are a big fan of the Dean Ambrose, the Lunatic Fringe. We thought he was going to win, but even though he got a whole bunch of suplexes in from went to Suplex City as he asked, Lesnar just he did give Lesnar took the fight to him, but unfortunately he just didn't make it.
yeah, and finally Brock just had this diversify his Suplex City taking edge because we actually saw him do a couple of belly to bellies instead of just the normal Germans.
Well, I
And
mean, well, Lesnar has actually been known to do that. Guys, don't mind me. I'm stoned out of my mind. So if I fuck up a lot, this is why. Anyway, um, Joe, Dean Ambrose, he's really trying to solidify himself as the Iron Man of the WWE, even though he lost.
You know, absolutely. And there was nothing wrong with that match. It wasn't a thing that he should be ashamed of. He gave Brock everything for a guy who's smaller than Brock, and this made it believable. He gave Brock a good fight, and I always said it. In order to beat them, a big beast like that, you have to make the match unorthodox. And guess what? That's what he did. He went out. He made it unorthodox. He fought, never gave up. He was a never say die attitude. Very good. I I was very surprised they went with Brock, but not really that surprised. But anyway, good match. Dean Ambrose has nothing to be ashamed of.
Absolutely. Now earlier in the night, Lita was in the ring, the Hall of Famer diva, and she talked about how women back in the history were powerful, and she then introduced the new Divas title. Well, I'm sorry, excuse me. It's now known as the Women's title, and I think we were talking about it earlier about how the Divas Championship really kind of made people, the ladies look weak, despite they call themselves powerful women. Uh, for me, I like the concept of the title belt, but I thought the red background kind of clashed with the little stripe underneath the WWE logo. Joe, your thoughts?
First of all, I've been saying it for a long time. They needed to go back to women wrestling, not divas, women wrestling. And that's what you saw. I got to give kudos to all three: Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch. They definitely went in there and gave a hell of a performance, a better performance than I've ever seen out of any Bella, any Alicia Fox, any of the old divas. And again, kudos for the WWE for bringing back the women's title that had a good history.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Lance, as Joe mentioned, it was Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch, and whoever would win would become the WWE's Women's Champion. And Charlotte, surprisingly, she retained the title or gained a new title, so to speak.
yeah, I mean that was definitely probably going to be best Divas match in I'd say the last 5 years.
Well, it was certainly better than that 5-on-5 match.
Oh
That was
yeah,
just a disgust. It was probably one of the bad matches of the night, if not a front runner. But then we had Shane McMahon versus the Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. This was for what it was a little bit more slow played out. Obviously, because Taker and Shane, they're not the youngest dogs, but they definitely put on one hell of a show. Uh, we saw Shane climb the Hell in a Cell while Taker was on the table. He literally dropped 20 feet from the table, 22 feet from the Hell in the Cell, excuse me, and landed on the table. I mean, he looked like he just got knocked out, Joe.
Definitely. Yeah. I thought he was broken. I thought that was it for him. I thought I normally I don't get in with matches today, and I really don't get into it. But when I saw Shane climbing up there, my heart started racing because it was like this guy's, he's going to do something crazy. He's not Mick Foley. He's not, any of the current superstars. It's Shane McMahon. He's whatever training, whatever you say, he was still. It just really, literally scared the crap out of me, and I hope that he was all right. Seeing him make that leap of faith and Undertaker moves and he crashed right through the table. Like I said, I thought the guy was paralyzed. That was it. He
Well,
he gave the Undertaker. I gotta say this, Rick. You know, for a guy like Shane, he's not Brock. He's not Triple H. Hell, he's not even Shawn Michaels, and he gave it to the Undertaker, which is a rare thing.
yeah, it is, and one of the stipulations. Well, there was two stipulations. If Shane won, he was gonna have control of Raw, and Taker would never wrestle at WrestleMania again. But that's obviously not the case. Taker won the match with a tombstone after Shane made that fall. That incredible jump off the cage, off the Hell in the Cell, and he then got a tombstone, and it was over. Lance, your thoughts? What do you think about Shane not controlling Raw?
Damn shame. Just a damn shame. Because, well, it's just gonna be more of the same bullshit.
Well, and that's exactly the case. With we were hoping for a change. We were hoping that this was going to be a Raw SmackDown split. There was a lot of talk about it. Even I had questions of whether it was going to happen or not, and I thought there was a strong chance. Joe, that just obviously wasn't the case.
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of saddened by that. I actually thought that they were going to try to separate the brands, the red and blue logos that was going to half red, half blue, kind of gave that indication. I think in this stage, they could have had left The Undertaker lose. I mean, you could tell he could barely stand up at times. He was sucking in wind. To enhance the storyline, it would have worked, and especially now that the you could say the corporation's kind of broken, the authorities kind of broken. This would have been a great thing, but unfortunately, WWE didn't see the bigger picture, or maybe we didn't take into account that maybe this was Shane's one and done.
He did come back to do a DVD. So obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if this last match is going to be a part of that DVD. And obviously, he's going to be doing commentating. He does have obligations overseas in Japan. He did step down. I think it was the CEO or head of the chairman, and I think he's now just still on the board. So that kind of questioned whether he was going to stay or not. Obviously, not the case again. Then we moved on to the Enter the Giant Battle Royal. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I first heard it, I'm like, they really didn't mention a lot of people, and I had my doubts. But, who comes in there? Baron Corbin's in there. I'm a big fan of him over in NXT. Great wrestler. DDP was in there. And then even Shaq and Tatanka. Joe, Tatanka, really? I think he was in there for about maybe 30 seconds. He didn't even get announced.
You know what? And as strange as it is, I kind of like the concept. They brung in a couple of the WWE guys. They had a couple of the WWE jobbers. They brung in the nostalgia guys, DDP, Tatanka. They brung in the NXT crowd in there, and then Shaq, out of all people, made that appearance. So it was a bit of everything, which for past WrestleManias, the ones that have had battle royals like 2 and 4, it they always did something like that. And again, it's a good concept. I'm glad to see it, and I'm glad to see that they're making it special. And I think we we got our laughs, we got our chuckles out of it. It was good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm good. Baron Corbin, excuse me, had got the win. He is now the Andre the Giant winner of the Battle Royal. Lance, he was an NXT great wrestler. Do we see him coming up the main roster now?
Soon, probably.
Okay, well, I mean, I have always been. I think Corbin has that possibility. Winning a major match at WrestleMania, Joe, I think that's going to say something about his career.
Oh, absolutely. Tonight was the night they gave the belt and chances to other people. Zack Ryder winning an Intercontinental title. Big swerve. We never thought that was going to happen. You know, Baron Corbin, NXT guy, out of nowhere wins the a prestigious battle royal, and it was totally a shocking moment. This from beginning to end, WrestleMania did not disappoint. I gotta say this, Rick, that attendance record of 101,000 plus 763 people. That's incredible. They haven't had a big crowd like that since WrestleMania 3, 93,000 and change. So it's WWE outdid themselves tonight. And I only got to say this, Dixie Carter is probably crying in the corner, knowing that AJ Styles was on the greatest of them all, the greatest card of all time.
Yeah, and I think we were joking earlier, saying how Dixie be lucky she can get 763, never mind 101,000. So, anyway, moving on. Um, then we had a really shitty segment. The Rock had to come out and do his thing, which took like 20 minutes. The Wyatts came out, and I figured, okay, maybe the Wyatts are gonna, beat up the Rock, but of course, Rock can't put him over. Who comes out? John Cena makes, comes out and helps out the Rock. And Lance, I don't get that. Why are they doing? What was the point of that?
For John Boy to bury some talent.
And that's exactly what happened, Joe. You know, I'm fans of the Wyatts, and I really thought the Wyatts was gonna have a future because they had the cool entrances. They're I have to say that Bray Wyatt's mic skills have gotten better, and it looked like as if they were the stable's getting stronger. But looking back at the records, they've not won that many matches, and it looks like they pissed somebody off in the back.
You know what is possibly this? I think in a way, what's happening is they give the Wyatts the upper echelon people. You know, you see The Rock, you see Cena, you see everybody else, the higher tier guys, and they just don't win those matches. But do these guys complain? No. You could tell they just go in there and keep doing what they got to do. I think that's what wins with the Wyatts. I think um, the way they are is, especially Bray, they're happy where they're at.
They're very complacent.
They're very complacent and they're getting a check. And put it like this: not everybody can say they had even if it's a quick match, a match with The Rock and Cena at WrestleMania, close to the main event. It doesn't get better than that, regardless of how many wins and losses the Wyatts get. These guys got to be happy enough to say, "Hey, you know what? I don't care. Give me my paycheck. Everybody knows who I am around the world." I think the crowd today, the wrestlers today, are just happy to be in the one company that matters.
Absolutely, and again, this was, if I'm not mistaken, Wyatt's second or third, if not appearance, and there's those WrestleMania moments that make the difference. Well, let's move on to the main event. It was Triple H versus Roman Reigns. Um, Reigns did not was not well welcomed. Triple H had a nice opening, and he had all the cheers. The fans were cheering for him. I think Joe, or they were trying to did a when they do the "Let's Go Roman, Roman sucks." It sounded like that was canned in, so to speak, which means that the WWE fed that in. Um, Triple H wanted to target the right arm, but at the end of the day, who comes back? Well, first off, Stephanie got speared, Joe. What the fuck?
You know what? I think that was also a moment where they try to win fans over Roman because he wasn't getting any love. And I agree with you with the can soundtrack, the can cheers. It did sound like let's go Roman. It was very low. Nobody really got into it. When Stephanie got speared, I think it was just another way for them to say, "Hey, you know what? Do this. Let's see if we can win you with that." If if they would have booed him out of the building for doing that, then Roman would have been done. He got the spear on her. The fans they went a little bit happy about it, but still, when Triple H hit him with the pedigree, they quickly turned right back against him and went straight to Triple H. End of the match, like I said, good, good match. fans still didn't. I don't think Roman's going to hold that belt for long.
Well, again, he won the title with the Superman punch and a spear. Lance, again, a lot of people not liking Reigns, and we've talked about it a couple of times. Since Reigns is not getting any over with the fans, do you think it's an idea to switch him to a heel?
Yes, definitely. Because if one ain't working, why not try it? Because while he did come in sort of kind of as a heel, but he he needs to go full heel.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what, guys? Overall, I'd have to give this a 9.5 for WrestleMania. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Last year's WrestleMania didn't even get half of that. Huge improvement this year. It really was. I very rarely mark out, but I was marking the fuck out tonight. Uh, Probably a couple of the best matches tonight. Certainly was the Divas triple threat. Jericho versus AJ Styles. And, of course, you got to give kudos to Shane O'Mac with that huge spot. Joe, over to you.
I gotta agree with you. I gotta give it a 9.5. This is the best WrestleMania I've ever seen in the last 5 years. It's hard to even pick a good match here because every match went beyond the limit. I gotta say this though. I gotta give kudos to Stardust, Cody Rhodes, for bringing out the black polka dot, take a ladder for the match. What a tribute to his father. His outfit was even had the little sprinkles of the polka dots. That was a good thing for me. Seeing a stunner, Stone Cold coming back, giving a couple of stunners, and seeing Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley all in the ring. They really went out, Rick. And this was the first WrestleMania in a long time that has been entertaining, has had us guessing on the edge of our seats.
And that was a match that I did forget, but I remember them coming out with that big box of Bootios. But Lance, back to the world title. Your thoughts?
Well, it was a good match. It just at the time, after all these great matches, personally, I was a little fatigued.
Okay. Well, what's your overall score, and what were your favorite matches?
Mm, Yeah, like I'd say 9.5, and favorite matches I gotta go Hell in a Cell and Ambrose and Lesnar, and just for good measures, the IC title match. Favorite segment? Well, I would put it like this: HBK coming back in that gear. I never thought I'd see that again.
Yeah, I think that was a huge pop for the for a lot of the Attitude Era legends, as I like to call them. But you know what? We're gonna wrap this up right now. We want to know your thoughts. Put your comments in the comment section below. Make sure you like us and follow us over at Facebook.com/groups and HWR chat room. And we also have her over on YouTube. Subscribe to us, and that's YouTube.com/HWR show. And I'd like to kick it over to the hardcore crew. Joe, what do you got going on? Where can people find you?
Yep, they can find me DK Retro, well, should I say Facebook.com groups. DK Retro, where we talk about retro gaming, the old 70s and 80s games. We talk about classic movies and classic television shows. You can also follow me on Facebook individually, Joseph Knight Manager on Facebook. You can also follow my Twitter at JKnightCWA.
And then we have the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, you're over at youtube.com/Lance Moss TV. What do you got going on over on Lance Moss TV?
I got album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, redneck gourmet cooking videos, musical equipment reviews, some rants, and every Wednesday I go live with Lance Moss TV and Friends at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Hell, whenever the hell I'll put up a announcement video when I do it. It's every Wednesday though. And hit me up on Twitter. It's at Lance Moss TV.
And with that, for the hardcore crew, I am your hardcore host, Rickhead, saying we'll see you when we see you.